And welcome back, Air Acolytes, to another edition of Breaking Wind, a Last Airbender podcast. I'm your host, Jason Roy Gaston, and the man to my side, my brother from another mother, my hot man himself, VHS Jace. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, good evening. I'm still losing my virginity with this show.
Gross.
With the show.
Gross.
With this show.
I don't need that kind of, I don't need that visual. Please don't. Please don't. I'm a very delicate person. Let's just get into it. This is Chapter 7, The Runaway of Season 3.
Bravo to this episode.
I'm just going to say, I'm going to start out with a negative. And to me, it's just a storytelling device that I have grown to absolutely despise. And that is the whole concept of here's this catastrophic event that's happening, and now we're going to flash back to 3
days earlier. And it's used so much too. It wouldn't be bad if they did it occasionally, but every freaking show on television does this.
Boy, no. Just once I want to see a TV show open up like this where something catastrophic happens and then it says 3 days earlier. And then it just shows like that same character sitting at a kitchen table by themselves, eating something and kind of. And then it says 3 days later and it's the same situation. just to make fun of that whole thing. Now I know that that's not like back then, whenever this episode first aired, it was not like a major trope. But nowadays, to me, it's just kind of cringy just to see Avatar: The Last Airbender do that. Fortunately, to me, it's the only negative of the entire episode because I thoroughly enjoyed that. So let's get into it. Apparently, Katara is totally betraying Toph. Oh my gosh, what is happening? Toph is down.
We really believe
Katara,
that.
Yeah, I totally believe that Katara, of all people, would betray Toph because that is totally within something that Katara would totally do. 3 days earlier, they are training, and Toph and Katara get into a mud wrestling tournament, which they're 12 or 13. No, just no. You have questions. What are your questions?
Was there any indication previously in the last couple of episodes that tension had been building up between the two of them?
Well, I mean, they've always had tension between them.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, this time it just seems like it's just kind of bursting at the seams, which, in fairness, that does happen. Sometimes
she's stuck with the same person for so long.
Yeah. Especially in close quarters, high stress environment, people going to piss you off. And Toph and Katara be peeved off right now. So they they get into their little mud fight, and I can see one of my screen caps appears to be missing, which is a shame because it was a really good screen cap. But after this fight, Toph and the boys go into town, and Toph basically scams a scammer out of money and goods, which is a great sequence, by the way. I really like to see Toph just like suddenly use her earthbending to cheat a cheater. And it's a moral gray area, but it's more like a morally black area or a morally whitish area. If Aang is like, yeah, no, it's cool, let's cheat. Cheating is awesome.
The cheating a cheater.
Yeah, they're cheating a cheater. It's fine. But they come back and they are just loaded with money. And look at how happy they are.
That's a great screen cap.
Yeah.
I love that screen cap.
So they come back and they're just full of life and money and everything. And of course, Katara's got a problem with it because she's got to lecture everybody. I really enjoyed the dissection of Katara's character here, not only by Aang and Sokka and Toph, but in the end, Katara kind of realizes, you know what? They're kind of right. They're right about me. It takes a lot of introspection to...
Yeah, but I also feel that she comes to the realization, but she's not without blame here because of
No.
by nature, those boys, and obviously Toph's come along recently, that just by instinct, you had to become a maternal figure.
Yes.
Especially to the boys.
Absolutely. And I that's one thing I like about this episode is that it is characters who are not totally right, not totally wrong, but they do end up seeing a sliver of truth in what their antagonist is saying. And I think that shows a great deal of emotional maturity through these characters. It shows how much they have grown, and it shows how much they're willing to grow. Because in the end, Toph is not right. Katara's not right. They just meet in the middle, and they're like, hey, I don't want to change who I am. I don't want to change who I am. Let's meet each other right here. I love that.
Before we go on, because I'll forget otherwise. Mud. Awesome that they both can use mud. But it seemed to me, Jason, not very well.
No.
Like the Earthbender it could use mud, but not to the ability they could with Earth. And the same with Katara. She could just like flick mud, but couldn't really bend it.
Yeah, considering that she uses sweat as a chainsaw later, I really think they were holding back.
Yes. Yeah.
But we are getting ahead of ourselves. Let's go back to the story.
I had to get the mud bit out. Yeah. I love the mud bit.
Sokka gets a new friend, Hockey. Today he would be called Hokta. But he's got. No. I couldn't help it. He's got a new friend. It's Hockey the Hawk, a messenger hawk. Because if he had a messenger hawk, he wouldn't have to talk to anybody. He'd just send them messages. So this is basically Sokka. Sokka would be one of those people who would have a cell phone and he would text people in the same room, like my freaking kids do all the time. I don't know why they do that.
I related to it because it's like me when there's new tech that comes along that I'm interested in buying. But I've got to get this device. I've got to get it. And that's basically what the bird is. It's just a new gadget for him.
Yeah. But while in town and getting hockey, he discovers a wanted poster. I just love that.
Drawing.
Does it look good? Actually, it does look good. The dialogue in this episode is so great.
On point.
Again, I love the fact that I'm trying to think of a way to put this. They don't erase Toph's disability, that she does have her limits, despite the fact that she is probably the most fiercest fighter on the team. She does have limits, and she's constantly reminded of them, and she has to constantly remind other people of her limits as well. Just like, oh my gosh, you'll never guess what I found. Well, it sounds like a piece of paper, but I guess you're talking about what's on the paper.
It is a great moment. And it's, I don't know, maybe it's kudos to her strength of who she is that they honestly forget she's blind sometimes.
Yes. I heard something the other day that somebody said that if this show were released today, people would be decrying it as woke because Toph is on the team. And then I'm just sitting there thinking, that's the dumbest thing ever. So of course, they would be. Yeah.
No, at all.
I just think
it's a ridiculous comment to make. How one
it
relates to the others.
Anytime I hear somebody use the word woke, my brain automatically subtracts 75 points from your IQ.
Well, whatever. Here's the problem with the word: is the fact that people have there's different meanings, which means you've just killed the word. The word really has no meaning because it has multiple meanings. And both, it's ridiculous. Either way, the show rocks, and it would still rock today if released today that it did back then.
Well, we got a new movie coming up. I think in next year, 2025, or is it 2026?
Yes, it'll be this.
Please let it be 2025. Please let it be 2025. I want to see this movie. I want to see teenage avatars.
What is it called? Aang the Last
Airbender, which I'm not crazy. Airbender. I'm not crazy about the voice cast all being replaced, but on the other hand, I can kind of see it if they're going to be older. But it seems like to me the voice cast is older now, so why can't we just have the old voice cast? But oh well. Anyway, at least we still got Dante Basco. At least. So anyway, Katara goes back into motherly mode. And she finds the wanted poster and Toph stuff. First of all, not cool going through somebody else's stuff. Katara, that is just too far. I love the way that Toph I love the way Toph calls her out on it. And her excuse is so lame about, well, your stuff was filthy and I was trying to put it away. Okay, Mom. Is that why you were going through my underwear drawer looking for drugs? I don't hide them there. I don't have them at all. That's what I'm trying to say. So a big blow up between the two. And then we get one of my favorite Sokka scenes of all time. And that is this conversation that he has with Toph here.
Cliff Edge?
Where he admits that Katara is the way she is because that is basically what life did to her, that she had to fill this role because they didn't have a mom. She was forced to take care of people. And then again, Toph is not the stubborn, like, well, she shouldn't be this way. No, she understands and she gets it. And she concedes that, wow, I never thought of it that way. You're right. Maybe I have been too hard on her.
Yeah. And Sokka's the same in a way too. I mean, he doesn't say it in that scene. But when he was saying, I was thinking to him as well, you had to grow up and be a leader well before your time as well. You had to be father of the village.
Yeah.
You know, you were
and of
heading
course,
up security.
and of course, Katara is just out of sight listening to this whole thing. I thought it was a great storytelling choice because in any other situation, I'd be thinking, why does Toph not detect her? Well, because she's in water. Toph can't detect her. Yeah. But again, Katara does not go, haha, I win. She understands. No, Katara's like, Toph is right too. Maybe I have been too much of an authority figure. And so Katara and Toph make a deal to go into town and pull the ultimate scam. Katara is going to turn Toph in and collect the money, and Toph is going to escape thanks to her metal bending. But there's just one problem. It's a bad plan because they know Toph can metal bend, and they put her in a wood cage.
Like, yeah.
I love the way that I love the way that their plan sucks.
Yeah.
Because they are just children. This is basically the whole, if I fake my own kidnapping, mommy will not be mad at me. Oh, that's the same level of thinking we have here. These two girls are
make
just
you
children.
Think though, if I was going to fight them, then definitely a wooden suit. Like Iron Man suit wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, right? Because none of them can, except for the fire bending part of it, where they can set you on fire.
Well, Aang can't fire bend yet, so it's. Yeah. I don't know. I just wouldn't fight a bender. I just wouldn't do it.
You imagine someone introduces plastics into that universe.
Ooh.
It's gonna cause chaos.
Ooh. Who would bend plastic? Would that be a part of the earth, or because I mean it's got petroleum in it?
Well, yes, it would be because it's got petroleum in it. It's got key indicators. I mean, these are plastic just synthesization, if that's a word, of natural elements anyway.
Well, I guess like a firebender.
How much water would be there?
Yeah,
would there be any water?
I guess a firebender could burn through it. But that's interesting.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Paramount.
See, now I'm lost in thought. Yeah.
If you want writers for a spin-off sequel series, work for X-Men. We'll write it.
Yeah. So anyway,
I actually wrote the original and sit back on my couch, watch the magicians go.
So not only is Toph royally screwed by their plan, so is Katara because, somebody else was looking for them. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the return of Sparky Boom Man.
Oh my God! The greatest name ever.
I'm not calling him Combustion Man. I'm sorry. Sparky Boom Man that's his name.
It's got a ring to it.
That is his name, Sparky Boom Man. In any other reality, he'd be a drag queen. But here he's a terrifying combustion bender.
I think this is the third time I've seen him in the series, and at each point so far, he is a genuine terrifying threat to that.
He really is.
Like, from my perspective, I have no idea how they can deal with this guy.
Basically, there's one way to deal with a combustion bender,
Yeah.
And
I kinda
it's
get that.
never pretty. It never ends pretty for one member of the fight. Let me just put it that way. But Sokka and Aang realize that Katara and Toph are taking way too long, so they go into town, and Sparky Boom Man is there to intercept them and royally beat they butts. Katara and Toph are in the same cage together, and neither one of them can escape because there's no such thing as wood bending. I guess the wood is very, very dry. And that's when Katara realizes, hey, I'm producing my own water. And so she starts running in place to get herself to sweat.
Cool
And she starts,
idea. I love it.
she starts pulling water off of herself, and she does that water whip thing where she's just cutting through the bars with water. Just shows you just how powerful she is.
Toph's got a great line about her smelling that too.
Yeah, because Toph's sense of smell has got to be really, really strong.
Yeah, really finite.
Yeah. Aang is fighting Sparky Boom Man, and it's a losing fight. And boy,
laser beams out of his freaking head.
I know, shooting laser beams out of his freaking head.
Yeah, basically.
Unless he pays us $1 million.
Yeah.
Wow, my Dr. Evil impression sucks.
Needs work. Needs work. I need to workshop that a bit more.
Yeah, workshop it as in like send it to China and not let it come back. So right before Sparky Boom Man can Sparky Boom Aang, Katara and Toph show up to help sway the fight. And in what is got to be dumb luck, Toph throws a boulder at Sparky Boom Man. Sparky Boom Man booms it, and a piece of the boulder smacks him right in his Sparky Boom eye.
Weakness.
And basically there's his weakness. He's been smacked in the face. He looks kind of like Dave Bautista.
It does. But a good pair of safety glasses with the third eye would solve a lot of those problems. Just saying.
But wouldn't he blast the safety glasses off every time he Sparky booms something?
Well, you just have to learn to take them off. And
yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be like Cyclops from the X-Men. Just then they'd probably get sued by Disney.
Well, he gets about the same amount of screen time that Cyclops did in those movies. So
that is true. He's got 20 times the personality as well.
Poor James Marsden.
I love James Marsden, but just not in those movies. He's great in Sonic the Hedgehog. I love him in those movies.
Yeah, great series.
All right. So anyway, as Sparky Boom Man is rubbing his Sparky Boom eye that has been rocked in the, I don't know what you call it, his tattoo. Is that a tattoo or is that just like, it's got to be a tattoo.
To the next dimension.
I don't
know. Got to be.
Because he couldn't have been born with that. I like to think it's a tattoo, like where his powers like focus out of his brain. But who knows? I would hate to be the person to tattoo what is basically like a combustion engine blaster in somebody's forehead.
Like, it ain't gonna go off while I do
this is gonna hurt. Are you gonna blast me? No. Are you gonna blast me? No. Are you gonna blast me? No, I swear I'm not going to. Because that's what you said to Phil, and Phil's in 3 pieces over there. It's okay. I didn't like Phil. The gang escapes, and we end our episode with Toph asking Katara to write a letter for her to her parents.
Very sweet.
Very
to
sweet.
Her parents.
Yes.
It is very sweet.
If oh my gosh, I've gone blank on names. If Toph likes it or not, Katara fulfills that matronly, motherly role even for her, and I really like that. I really like how
nice episode because dealing with like the complexity of their relationships, which the show does better than any other show, animation or live action, and to actually deal with these things that would never normally do, it just strengthens the show so much. It's a whole episode really about her being a nag, but figuring what that meant and what her role is. And we're seeing her evolve into this really mature young woman. Right? It's just, and all that's underpinned in this show, and it's not thrown in your face, but it just, you're getting this via osmosis from the show, and it's so expertly done.
It really is. This show does character work so well. It does character work better than most live action shows do.
It really does.
It shames most other shows the way that they do things. And I think that this is one of the strongest character episodes we've had in a long time. Definitely one of Toph's stronger episodes. And I would even say Katara and Sokka, all their characters have just amazing character moments in this episode.
You can't react or say anything, but I will say I'm most nervous about her future. Like going into Legend of Korra and what happens to Toph. I don't know why, but I'm most nervous about her future than I am the main three. I don't know. I'm not implying that she's or anything else like that, but there's something about her that I go, what's going to happen with Toph? These other three are going to be okay, but what's going to happen with her?
Well, the Legend of Korra takes place 60 years after this show, so
okay,
let's just say quite a bit happens to these four. I mean, obviously we lose one if we have a new Avatar.
Yeah.
So who else have we lost? I don't know. We'll have to see. So, that is it for this one. One of my personal favorite episodes is coming up next week.
Oh,
because we get a genuine horror episode in The Puppet Master, in which we are introduced to one of the most terrifying forms of bending ever that ends up playing a major role, not only in this series, but it has repercussions all the way into the Legend of Korra.
Okay. That means you're puppeting human beings. Now, how would you puppet human beings?
I don't know. How would a bender do that?
A waterbender would do that because you're 2/3 water. Me liking the mystery.
Yeah. So, the Puppet Master is coming up.
I'm going to watch it in a minute too.
I'm sure you will. It's too bad it's not around Halloween, but this is a perfect Christmas episode, I suppose.
Okay.
Why not? Why not? Oh, my goodness. So thank you all for joining us for this edition of Breaking Wind, a Last Airbender podcast. What did you think of this episode? It was great. Whatever opinion you have is irrelevant, but if you'd like to bore us with a contradictory opinion, please do. And while you're doing that, absolutely, while you're doing that, take a look at the episode description below. You can join us on Patreon, support us for as little as $5 a month or more, or you can join our channel membership by going to our channel's main page. We would love you to join us. We would love you to be a part of this wonderful movement that we started here on YouTube. And most importantly, we would like your money. So just give us money. Otherwise, we'll have to scam you. That is right. Yeah. Be the Metamucil to our movement.
Yeah. That's why
I don't even know what we're doing anymore.
Have we ever?
Not really, no.
We're not ending it?
I've hit the thing. Oh, there we go.
Okay. Gonna press it twice.
I